Hey, I'm back. This is Chandler for Melda Production, and I decided I'll do a few more MSoundfactory videos because I know I hadn't done any of those in a while. And today I want to show you how you can layer supersaws. So it's really easy to make a supersaw in MSoundfactory, but one of the good things is you have all this extra space so you can actually layer multiple of them. So let's just hear this supersaw here. I should have saw wave, 12 voices, etc. Let's play it. So that's what we're working with and what we have here, but let's actually layer this and make this in something a little bit better. So let's go over to B here. We have this on default. Turn the attack down to 5. Turn the sustain all the way up. Everything else should be the same, I believe. Let's just go in the generator, and what we want to do first is let's add a bass layer. I'm going to take this oscillator here, just like we had before. I'm not going to do anything with the unison for this, because this is going to be our bass. I'm going to change this to a sine wave, and I'm going to move this down an octave, so it should sound like this. Okay, so that's not that exciting. Let's get on to the saw waves. And while we're doing that, let's turn this off and let's go to another one. Have this here, and this one we are going to use the unison. Now you can change this from a saw wave to something else, and there's also other saw shapes in here, but let's just leave it there for now. Have this enabled. We have this detune here. Let's try about 8 voices here. And we can leave this at random. You can change it to optimize, but it's going to create a interesting phasey sound if you switch it to optimize, which I don't particularly like, but you might. But let's leave it at random for now, and let's move the detune as we play this. I think that's good. This is the layer we're going to use for our mids, and what I want is I just want kind of a sweet sound, so I don't want it really detuned, although you can try that if you want. And I'll leave that there, and let's turn that off, and let's add another oscillator here and do the exact same thing, except this time I'm going to add more voices. Let's try 12 voices. Let's choose random wide here. I'll let you hear the difference between these as I play them. So you can hear it just adds a little bit on those outer ends in your left and right. I'm gonna actually turn this detune way up, like this. So you can hear that's really detuned, and let's even add a little bit more widening here. Let's see if we can get this at 100%. Okay, and there's one last thing I want to do here, and that is add some white noise at the top. So we just go in here, we see noise generator. It's a white noise by default. We probably want to turn this down just a little bit. Let's play it. I turn the widening up to make that wide. You can turn it up kind of as wide as you want. Well, it depends, but I don't really care if my white noise is phasing or whatever. It doesn't really make a difference to me. So I just want something, you can hear on the sides to make this really big. Now that we've had all this, what we want to do is use some EQ to separate the different frequencies or spectrums. So for this noise here, I'm going to add a band pass here. I'm going to turn the low pass off. We might want that later, but for now, let's leave it here. And I'm going to use a high pass filter, and I just want to cut off everything below the keys we're playing. And that's just because I don't want a mess, down in your low end. Now, I'll actually probably even move this up to 1 octave above. And take a look at the resonance. I want to turn that down so it's completely flat. I don't want it resonating at this frequency. So I always find about 30 hertz will do it. Now, as you can see here, it's cutting off lots of that, but we're just using the white noise as kind of widening on the sides. Okay, we have that. The next one we want to do is I want the oscillator here. Actually, let's start with this one here, actually, our mid-range. What I'm going to do with that is use another bandpass filter. I don't really need the high pass. What I do need is this low pass, and what we're going to do is set this to 6 decibels per octave. You can do it any way you want to, but I think it sounds a little bit more natural this way. Also, we can change this to constant mode if you want to use frequencies here, but for me, I think I'd rather actually use the normal mode, and the reason is because as you move up and down the spectrum, you're going to get kind of different frequencies coming out depending on what chord you're playing. This way, it'll always be somewhat constant. I'll do the same thing with the resonance as before. Actually, I was going to say do something with the resonance, but you don't need to because 6 decibel per octave filters don't have any resonance. What I'll do here is set this wherever I think feels good. Let's play this and hear it. I think about 2.5 octaves is good. Now that we have that, we're going to do the exact same thing for the other one here. But instead of using a low pass filter, we're going to use a band pass and we're going to use a high pass filter. 6 decibels per octave, and it should be 2.5. So it's going to cut off that low end a bit. Let's hear that. And I kind of want these to sound somewhat similar in volume. So let's take a look here at the mid-range and see where it's hitting on the output. About 10 of this. Now, of course, we can mix this later. I just wanted to kind of do that as a starting point. What we're going to do now is we're going to mix these all together. So on track 1 here, turn all these on. Let's look in here for our mixer module, just right here. I'm going to right click it, input 1, input 2, or input 1, 2, 3, and 4. But as you'll notice, it's still coming out of outputs 2, 3, and 4. We don't want that, so we'll just steal the inputs from all of these. Now everything's going out of input 1 here. Now we can play this and adjust the volumes. Okay. And if I think, you know what, noise sounds good, but there's just a little bit too much high end, I can solo this and go back to my bandpass, set this to like constant mode, and then adjust this filter here. 12 decibels per octave. Okay, and let's go back to our mixer. Let's hear it. Already, this is sounding bigger and fuller than what I had before here. So let's compare them. Just one supersaw. Okay, and from there, we can go in and do things like EQing it or probably compressing it first. So let's try Turbo Comp. Try anything. Let's try this one, Fair Meld. See how this works. Pop this out just so we can see the meters and see how much gain reduction we're doing. Let's turn the output down in case this is really loud. Now, I like the power it's bringing, but you might be thinking like, it seemed like it got smaller. It's not quite as wide. And that's because these two channels are linked. So we can kind of move that and take that off if we want, like this. Try to match the output as closely as I can. So I think that's sounding pretty good, and compare that to the first one. You can come in here, we can do some EQing as well. Inside here, we can use the auto listen to find which frequencies are annoying us. Now, to me, that's sounding a little bit better. This kind of annoying frequency that might interfere with your vocal or, guitar or whatever. I cut that out. And lastly, let's just stick a reverb on there. Let's see what we have. Maybe this is good. Let's just try the default setting. To me, that sounds much better. Like I said, with the mixer here, you can kind of change this if you want. You think, I don't really like so much noise. You can turn that down. You can also go in here and change these around if you don't want this. I could change it to a square wave if I wanted. So there's a lot of things you can come up with variation-wise here. You can even go and add all sorts of modulators and things in here. Or if you wanted to, let's say, make this into a pluck sound, I could just easily add a filter here, like this. Make the resonance, turn that down again. Go in here, add attack 1. There. Move this up and see how this sounds. Etc. There's LFOs, there's all sorts of things. Probably should have done a better job with that, but you get the idea. Using this layering method, there's all sorts of possibilities and things you can do to create interesting and new sounds. So maybe tell me about this. And also, I was thinking about maybe making this into a device. So if you think that's a good idea and you'd like a device like this where you could just easily go to the easy screen and do all this kind of stuff and layer it, let me know and maybe I'll do that. So if you have any questions, leave those down below. Give me a thumbs up if you like this, and make sure to check out all the other plugins at meldaproduction.com. Till next time, see you.